People often wonder what my background is. How did I become to be this performance specialist that I am? And it's a long story, but basically, I grew up in the automobile business. My father was a car dealer, and I was around engines from the time I was a real little kid. I started playing with our go-kart engine and modifying it back when I was in junior high school. There were times when we wanted to get the compression up. Well, we didn't have a machine to do that, so we'd take the cylinder head off, and I'd go out on the sidewalk and use the gritty sidewalk to machine down that cylinder head in order to get the compression up. I got pretty proficient at taking those apart and putting them back together again. That's what I was doing in junior high school, and all through high school, I got into cars. I'd had a 68 Camaro for about a year and a half. Bought a 1970 Z28 that we took in on trade in 1974. It's a car that I owned and sold just 6 years ago. I owned that car for almost 30 years. Traded that for a Monza-bodied car, small black Chevy stuff, mid 10-second run stuff. It wasn't until much later on in life when I first started getting into motorcycles and Harleys. My first bike was a 1981 Sturgis. It was a twin belt drive Harley. I bought that towards the end of the time that I was in the automobile business. And so I started looking around for a Harley dealer around this area that was looking for a salesman. And I found one at this dealership that I'm working for now, Illinois Harley-Davidson. Sold bikes for them until the very end of 1989. And by that time I had gotten involved with a customer that decided he wanted to go drag racing a Harley. Raced that bike professionally for 3 seasons. Did most of the mechanical work on that bike. It was started out as an 80 cubic inch turbocharged Harley. We designed and built our own 3-speed transmission for it. From there, I decided that I was sort of wasting my talents on the sales floor. I ended up going to work for S&S Cycle up in Wisconsin. When they first decided to do engines, complete engines, I supervised that for 7.5 years. I got involved in the manufacturing process of the motorcycle parts that we were building. I don't take the parts, put them together. I know what it takes to actually make the parts, and have made some of them myself. While I was working there, I decided to build my own motorcycle from scratch. It was quite a project. The bike's my total design. I made it. I did all the paint work on it. The engine, I want to do something different with that. Ended up making a set of connecting rods for that engine out of titanium. It's a bike that made, about 110 horsepower out of a 1200cc motor. Took it to the drag strip a couple times, ran low 11s with it, about 119 miles an hour, in street trim, no wheelie bar. Could have gone quicker, but I really didn't want to launch it and take a chance of boogering something up. So my 60-foot time wasn't as good as what I would have liked it to be. Decided to come back down here, and seemed a natural fit. I called Bob and Dave, who I'd worked for before, and asked them if they were interested in doing performance work, having a performance specialist. And they said, wow, yeah, it sounds like a great idea to us. We would love to have somebody like you with your talents and your abilities. And I've been here ever since. I live close. Since then, I bought a 2003 Road King that I used to develop my 95-inch setup that I do. It's a setup that, with a good exhaust system, will make 100 pounds of torque and 100 horsepower, yet drives almost like a stock bike, still gets really good gas mileage if you ride it right. And then last year I decided to do another little project. We had taken in an older 1987 FXRS on trade. Next thing you know, I was thinking, I could put a twin cam engine in that, and I could do one of those 110-inch motors, because I know somebody's got some of those parts laying around, and I did all the machine work on that. That one was a fun project, because not only did I do the engine, but I decided to do a different front and rear fender. I got a front and rear fender off of V-Rod on it, adapted that to it, so give it a different look. I wanted the newer style, big diameter front forks that come on one of the new Harley models, but Harley didn't have a set of fork trees that work with those forks, so I decided to make my own. And I made my own upper and lower tree out of titanium, along with some other parts out of titanium, because the more power you make, you want the bike to be as light as possible, because there's that whole horsepower to weight ratio thing that will help acceleration. And that's a bike I finished last year. It's a fun bike to ride, makes a pile of power. It's about 130 horsepower, yet very streetable. Still gets good mileage. And really it's a fairly mild 110-inch motor. Not as wild as a lot of other stuff that's out there. Yet parts all work real well together and therefore make really good power. And that's where I am today.